Hello, everyone. My guest today is Siri Chakka. She is building a great company called Reset based in Austin, Texas. Before Reset, she consulted for Fortune 500 CEOs on corporate strategy, private equity firms, and turnaround strategies. Private equity firms doing turnaround strategies. She's got a degree in chemical engineering from University of Illinois and an MBA from the University of Texas. Siri, you ready to take us to the top?
Yeah.
All right. Tell us about Reset. What's the company do and how do you guys make money?
Yeah. So Reset, we partner with local independent dinner-only restaurants to transform their spaces during the day into workspaces for the remote working community. We operate on a membership model, so customers pay us money to have access to a private space to work at half the price of a traditional co-working space. We then provide a percentage of those proceeds to our restaurant partners. So we help local businesses out in the process.
This sounds like if you have 1,000 customers all around the country, you have to have someone on the ground every day, like moving the tables out of the way to create like co-working spaces, like setting up electrical outlets and like surge protectors. I mean, like, how does this actually work in person?
Yeah, it's very dependent by restaurant and it's part of our screening process. But we have restaurants that take 20 minutes to set up. We have restaurants that take 5 minutes to set up. It really depends on how they were built. So for example, we had a restaurant downtown that it was an old house. So there was like no plug outlets whatsoever. And so we had to figure out how to map electrical in through, surge protectors and towers. We have another restaurant on the east side that the owner actually built it from scratch. There are plug outlets everywhere. You can go outside and there's like rows of plug outlets. He of course saw this. So set up there is a breeze and set up at our downtown location takes a little longer.
Interesting.
But in the end, like tables, chairs, I mean, these restaurants are already set up to have a sense of community and small groups. So it's really not that bad.
And so your pricing model, how are you pricing?
Yeah. So we want to price at the same price point as you would have if you sat at a coffee shop all day. So we have $10 for a day pass, 80 for a 10 pass, and 150 for a monthly. So if I'm squatting at a coffee shop all day, I'm buying a few cups of coffee, I'm buying some pastries because I'm paying for like to be allowed to sit there all day, right? So we wanted to take away that guilt, take away that obligation.
It's 10, 80, and 150?
Yep.
And sorry, what was the 150?
Unlimited monthly.
Got it. Interesting.
Yep.
Okay, so and is it free for the restaurant?
Yeah, I mean, the restaurant is operating in the background and they get a cut of the proceeds.
Oh, got it. Okay. So this is interesting. So they get a cut of the proceeds. What percent do you give the restaurant, or is it changed depending on the restaurant?
That's negotiable. Yeah, that's negotiable.
Okay. Give me a big range, like anywhere between 10 and 50?
Anywhere from 10 to 20%, depending on how big the restaurant is and the amenities that they provide.
Okay. So they keep 10 to 20%.
Mm-hmm.
This is like, you're like WeWork, but you figure out a way to not have to deal with any of the physical issues.
Well, I mean, honestly, look at the WeWork's P&L, right? 65% of their costs come from the lease and the build out. That's why they charge the prices that they do. If you can remove that, then like you can bring those prices down to a place that a ton of people that are currently priced out of the market can actually enter. So we're growing the share of the pie, not taking from other co-working spaces.
The reason I want to have you on is because I saw a picture of someone, I forget which city it was in, but space was so expensive they were turning parking spots into co-working space.
It was San Francisco.
Yeah, and I'm like, I've got to get Siri on.
Like $250. Yeah, no, it's kind of insane. San Francisco as a whole, yeah, I don't understand.
It is actually insane. So when I ask you like how many customers do you have, do you think of your customers in terms of the restaurants or the paid members per month?
We think of it as members. We're technically a B2B, B2C double-sided marketplace, right? So my co-founder is external facing. She takes care of our members. She does all the external communications. I'm internals facing. So I do all the BD, the operations, the finance. So my customers are technically the restaurants. But when me and my co-founder talk, we talk about our members as being our customers.
So how many total restaurants are on the platform today?
We have 2 restaurants right now.
In Austin?
And we're onboarding more this summer. So
that's great.
Excited.
Okay. And across those 2, how many members do you have?
We've had about 400 people try us out, and we've converted 30 to 40% of them into paying members. Yep.
Hold on. So you have 3 different pricing models. So 400 have paid the $5.
No. So it's 10, 80, and 150.
Sorry,
right?
the $10?
Yeah. So we have people that use us on a drop-in basis. They don't want to buy bulk. They don't have a consistent schedule. We have a lot of travelers. We have a lot of business people. So yeah, we consider a day pass user, like a regular day pass user, a converted member.
Okay. And the regular day pass is 150 or 80?
No, that's $10.
Okay. How do you measure those stickiness though? Don't you want everyone, as many as possible, on the 150 a month?
No, actually, that's not our goal. So our goal is flexibility and convenience. We realize that with the 10 pass, which is a pretty unique offering here. That's where the bulk of our users are going to go, and that's where the bulk of our users are.
Okay.
So the 150 is there for people that want to do that, but that's actually not the way we're structured.
If I asked you then what the average member pays per month, how would you calculate that?
It's probably around 30 to 40 a month.
So it's like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, exactly. They're dropping in once to twice a week usually.
Interesting. Okay, so call it 40, and then you have some power users that maybe say, "Screw it, I'm going to do 150 a month."
Exactly.
Okay, very cool. Okay, so 400 customer. Now, do all those customers stay pretty active? Like they do it once and they have done it for the past 4 months every month?
Yeah, so that's actually been a really interesting journey. So we've been operating for about 8 months now. So we're learning a lot about the customer segment that we're going after. And we're going after a segment that really values flexibility and convenience. So we don't get that. So sometimes it comes in waves, right? A lot of our customers are traveling quite a bit, or they have the need for meeting space, in certain parts of the year and sometimes not. So we'll see customers like come in for 4 months at a time, and then we might not see them for another 4 months, and then they'll come back. And it's just based on when they need workspace and their schedules. That's the big benefit and the differentiation that we provide against other workspaces is this flexibility and convenience. Yeah. So they can still stay a member when they want. We're trying to be an on-demand drop-in workspace. Yep. And we know that some of the things that we have to sacrifice is the predictability of revenue, but we're hoping that we create something that is so sticky that people use us for that convenience factor.
So can I take 400 times average of $30 a month, and you say you're doing about 12 grand a month right now in revenue?
It's going to be around there. Yeah.
And then you're going to take about 10 to 20% of that is actually going to go to the restaurant. So maybe
it goes to the restaurants, and then the rest of our costs really go to operating, like wages, marketing.
Yeah. Are you operating at breakeven right now?
No. But we're getting closer. We are getting closer.
Yeah. Well, so it sounds like you're burning capital. Have you raised?
No, we're bootstrapped. So we're bootstrapped, and we actually just last week closed our friends and family round. So we raised, like what you raised in a friends and family round.
Well, about how much was that?
It's anywhere from 30 to 40 grand right now.
Okay, so you closed to $40,000. Now it sounds like you're burning capital before that. How are you covering those costs?
We were bootstrapped. We were using our own capital to incorporate it. So me and my co-founder actually both have our full-time jobs still.
Okay, how many of you guys are there total? Just you two?
Just the two of us, and then we have part-time staff.
All right, so when are you going to take the leap? You're never going to make this thing succeed if you're reliant on the full-time gig. So when are you quitting?
Yeah, so I actually just went full-time to half-time and hoping by the end of the year that I'll be done. And my co-founder might be making the jump very soon.
Yeah. Okay. So operating at kind of break even, you just raised a $40,000 friends and family round. There's two of you guys right now. You're both kind of part-time in your other jobs as kind of a safety net, hoping to go full-time in the startup here by the end of the year.
Yep.
That's great. I love that. Okay. Talk to me a little bit about growth. So a year ago today, were you like not existent?
Yeah, a year ago we had just met with a lawyer to figure out what it means to file for a business and structure an LLC.
That's funny. Okay, so nothing. And then do you remember 6 months ago, December of 2018, how many members checked in that month?
Oh yeah, we are double since what we were in December.
Okay, so you had about kind of 200 times 30, call it like $5,000 a month in revenue at that point.
We were struggling to hit demand there, and it's funnel traffic over there. So you're familiar with Austin. So the Mueller neighborhood, It was a beautiful restaurant that we were partnered with. Mueller is a very insular neighborhood, and we were learning that it just takes a different marketing model. If it's actually a good place to start, it takes a different model than what we were having. So we decided to cut our losses and just be like, hey, like we're going to focus on these two restaurants first. And then once we figure that out, we can come back. And the restaurant was like, so grateful, and they were really good partners to work with.
That's good. So how are you let's break down that. I mean, do not have an easy job. How are you convincing these restaurant folks to sign up?
Oh, this is fun. Have you ever worked in the restaurant industry?
I flipped burgers at West End Grill at Virginia Tech. So I know about fryers and flipping and cleaning and all that.
I've never worked in the restaurant industry. My co-founder never worked in the restaurant industry. I come from a management consulting background. I'm very email and phone heavy.
Yeah.
I was wondering why no one was answering my phone calls and no one was answering my emails. So what do? I just start showing up at these restaurants. But you can't show up at service because they're really busy. So then I start learning if a restaurant opens at 5, their back of the house is usually there around 1 or noon. Their front of the house is around 2 or 3. I'm like, okay, the manager is going to be around there sometime. So I literally just drove around different neighborhoods, popping into different restaurants. I had to get my pitch down to about 10 seconds because they literally open the door and they're wondering who we are.
What do you say? Pitch me.
I say, I'm UT grad starting a company that supports the restaurant industry and helping you monetize your space while you're not using it.
Interesting.
And then they're like, oh, because you don't even have to be in the restaurant industry to know this. Like restaurants, they don't make that much money. The vast majority of restaurants are actually below break even. And then they get to break even. And then you have the Uchis and the Eberlus of the world that, for other reasons are doing really, really well. And so you just, when you say that you can help them use their space, their ears perk up and they're like, okay, like, let's talk, let's talk. And you have to make it seem like we had to structure our operational model so that it was really hands off to the restaurant because they already have so much work to do to get set up. We can't add that additional burden, even though we're paying them. So we had to make it in a way that it's like really hands off for them.
I want to ask the obvious question. Like, why wouldn't I just go to a coffee shop and pay $10 on coffee instead of paying you $10 to be in a random restaurant somewhere that may or may not have strong Wi-Fi?
Yeah, so we actually upgrade all the Wi-Fi's to business speed,
okay.
And it's a private network because all restaurants actually have additional encryption in their Wi-Fi because they take credit cards. So it's actually it's a ultra safe internet, and we upgrade all of it to business speed.
Okay,
So
same question still though. Why a random restaurant over just a coffee shop?
No. So I was a coffee shop worker, right? I had my first remote job out of grad school. My co-founder did as well. I was finding that it was unreliable. I had to wake up really early to actually get a seat in a lot of these coffee shops. I felt obligated to continue purchasing things, even if I didn't want to purchase them. Wi-Fi was unreliable. Sound was unreliable. I remember I was sitting in the Starbucks on Riverside, and I was working, and this gaggle of like 15-year-olds came in after school, and they were just laughing, and they were making so much noise. And I got upset. I was like, this is really annoying. And then I was like, they actually have just as much reason and right to be here than I am.
Yeah.
They're actually paying way more money than I am. I was like, there has to be like an optimal. I really liked co-working, but I just can't. I had a company that subsidized that for me. But once I left that company, I was like, I can't defend this payment of $350, $400 a month for a spot that I actually don't want monthly. I just want a place to drop in when I like need to get out of my house. And I was like, there has to be a way to build a model that does that. We don't pick random restaurants. We're picking beautiful restaurants.
Makes sense. I hope you guys keep scaling. That'll be a lot of fun. You have to come back on and give us an update in a year. In the meantime, though, let's wrap up with the famous five. Number one, what is your favorite business book?
Setting the Table.
Number two, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
Inder Nui from PepsiCo.
Number three, what is your favorite online tool for building your company?
Trello.
Yeah, that's a good one. Number four, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
9. That's a huge priority.
It is big. And what's your situation? Married, single, kiddos?
Single.
No kids running around?
No kids.
and
fur baby. There
you go. And do you mind me asking how old you are?
I'm 29.
29. Last question. What do you wish your 20-year-old self knew?
Oh God. Talk to people. Just learn about their stories and their lessons, and try not to learn everything the hard way.
Guys, Hit Reset is turning restaurants into co-working spaces during the day to help the restaurants make money when they're not leveraging that space that they pay for anyway via their lease. So they're currently serving two restaurants here in Austin. 400 people have come in and paid their membership fees. They're doing about $12,000 per month right now in revenue. They give the restaurants anywhere between 10 and 20% of that revenue as they look to scale. They raised $40,000 from friends and family, team of 2 right now, hoping to go full time on this by the end of the year. Siri, thank you for taking us to the top.
Thank you.